All right, we got a special guest in the locker room. He can provide us with a hell of a lot of insight. In fact, I don't know too many people that can provide us with more insight on the things that Texans fans are talking about heading into the season. He was a teammate of Stefon Diggs. He's had some good things to say about Tank Dell. I think he can relate to the state of where the Texans are. Cole Beasley joins us. Cole, appreciate you for coming through. What is Cole Beasley up to, man? I'm not going to lie. I felt like you had a little bit football left in you still. What is Cole Beasley up to, and do you miss playing at all?
Oh man, anytime you've done that for your whole life, you definitely miss it. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough transitioning. I mean, I'm done now, obviously, but now I'm just taking everything I know and passing it down to the next generation, and spending a lot of time coaching kids and my own, and trying to help them to be the best football players they can be.
How old are your kids?
So my oldest is the one really getting into it now. He's 9, and but I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old girl also. So my two older ones are boys. But I'm about to coach my 9-year-old's tackle football team starting July 27th.
So you're not one of those guys that's like, I wouldn't let my kid play football type of thing. You're still encouraging them to play.
Oh yeah, no. So my thing was more, I know a lot of people are scared of youth football, and a lot of parents ask me like, what age do you let your kid? And I always tell them it's not really about age; it's more about the maturity as far as can I teach them something and can they apply it? Like once they can do that, then I feel like they're safe to play football. But obviously, coaching matters. I mean, you want to know who you're signing your kid to play with, and where if they're teaching it the right way. And I guess a lot of parents don't know, but there's safe ways to do it. And I can say this: when I played, I didn't take a lot of hits. I learned how to play and avoid them. So I mean, I could probably say I've had like 2 or 3 concussions in my life, and
Okay,
one
I
or
guess
two,
that's good. I guess that's good.
one or two of them were from basketball, though. You
Okay.
know, um, and I've played a lot more football than anybody else has. So I mean, most people are done after high school. So there's safe ways to do it, man, and I feel like coaching is getting a lot better as far as tackling techniques and taking the head out of the game. So, um, I mean, I encourage mine's almost like he won't give up till I let him. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see. I just have my first. So I have a 10-month-old. It's a girl though, so I don't think she'll be playing football. But I'm kind of going down that train too, the parenting train. Not quite there yet. Kind of trying to
Yeah.
enjoy it a little bit. So I want to like kind of connect the Bills where you were and the Texans. And I think we got to go back to 2019. And I know
Yep.
you. There were two teams kind of trying to elevate. They were kind of on that tier. What do you remember about the playoff game in 2019? Y'all were pretty well in control of that one, and then Deshaun Watson kind of happened, and it looked like these two teams would be going in similar directions. We'll get to why they didn't, and something that is even more connected. But what do you remember about that 2019 game?
That game pisses me off, man, because I felt like we were the better team, honestly, and I feel like we played conservative and took our foot off the gas on that one. And I've learned just throughout at that point in my career, I was, I don't know, year 8, I guess. And I'm being in Dallas, I don't know, I probably played in 3 or 4 playoff games at the time already. And just from being in there in the playoffs, it's different, man. You can't ever play conservative. You just got to play like it's 0-0 the entire game. That's something I kind of learned through my career, and I don't feel like we did that. And I feel like we lost that one
Yeah.
more so than they won it. I mean, they had a good team, but I don't know.
Yeah, there was
I
some
felt
weird stuff that happened in that one. I remember there was
yeah.
the kickoff where he just dropped it in the end zone, Carter, and then it kind of I think y'all were going to go up 17. Then the Watson run in the end zone, and then the dump off to Jones at the end. But yeah, I can tell that you didn't like that one, but y'all did after
No,
that.
Yeah, I hated that one.
But y'all did after that. This is where I think the Bills continued to go up and the Texans went down. The Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins. I remember I was on the air when that happened. That was an absolute bleep show. And then y'all traded for Stefon Diggs, who is now a member of the Texans. Polarizing topic, to be honest, but I thought that, it's interesting because you go back and you see some of the stuff that Diggs has said about you and the stuff that you've said about Diggs. And, you get a lot of people saying that, he could be a diva and coming into a locker room and stuff like that. But I've never heard a teammate really say anything bad about him, at least not publicly. I texted Brian Robinson after they traded for him just to ask. He said he was a good guy going back to the Minnesota days. And I watched an old news story where you came back to Buffalo in 2022 and Diggs said something like, I hugged Beasley 3 times or something like that. And then he's put out some appreciation tweets of that. What is Stefon Diggs like based on your experience as a teammate?
The whole diva thing is like I don't think there is any number one wide receiver who's not. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that's everybody. But I don't even think the people know when they're saying that what that even means. Because to me, a diva is like I don't know, who's someone who's like scared to get their hands dirty. You know what I mean? And Steph is one of the hardest working players that I've played with. You know, and there's been a lot of guys that I've played with that don't want to practice. That they got an injury that's kind of nagging them. They're like, I can't do it today. He's not one of those guys. He'll fight through everything. And when he touches that field, dude, it's whether it's a practice or a game, he's the same guy. And he's one of the hardest practice players I've ever seen.
And
And
he's a funny dude,
that's
isn't he?
pretty good. That's
He's
pretty good coming from a guy that's like establishes him and knows he's going to get his targets no matter what. Like he could go out there and kind of half-ass it and still, you're the number one guy. They're going to throw you the ball. One of the best teammates. I always said he's the like my favorite number one wideout. And I don't know any number one guy who's not gonna get mad when he doesn't touch the ball. I mean, he's the number one guy for a reason. He has earned those touches, right? So I don't like I said, that's just going back to the diva thing. I don't really know what that means, but um I mean all I think about is like, they're number one guys are always pretty flashy. They demand the ball. Maybe that's what people call a diva, but if there's any diva you want to play with, it's him. If all number ones are that, love playing with the dude, and I would always give him crap. I'd be like, hey, I get open more than you, right? I was like, if you check the tape, I'm open way more than you are. I said they should throw me the ball a little more.
Well, y'all were both all
but
pros. I find that interesting because
but
I've heard, who's gonna eat? Is it gonna be Nico? Is it gonna be Tank? Is it gonna be Steph? But y'all were both all pro in 2020. And was he one of those guys who got kind of excited whenever you would eat too? Was there like any friendly competition or
oh yeah,
anything?
no. So that's like I just say that talking shit. I mean, I know he's gonna get the ball more. So um but he's just as happy for anybody else's success as his own. And he knows he's also a smart player. He knows if we don't get off too, it's gonna be harder for him, you know. And that's the good thing about Houston is he's going there, and I believe that's part of the reason he probably wanted to go there is they have other guys. And he knows how hard it is if you're the only one, and that's the guy you're just feeding targets to. It's easy to take that away. It's hard to stop when it's coming from multiple guys. And you got a guy like Dell next to him. That dude's not getting covered one on one. And I'm a big fan of his and just the way he can get separation and bouncing out of cuts. Um, so I don't know. It's an exciting time for him, and I know he's hungry. A lot of people have said things. Probably mostly Buffalo fans. They're pretty resentful right now, probably. But you never know what it's like for a guy inside the locker room. And I don't know the full extent of what happened there and who made the decision for him to leave and this and that. But I will say it's not all roses and happiness and sunshine and rainbows in there all the time. So I don't know. I know fans are quick to get on a guy, but everything's not always what it seems.
Who's quicker to get on a guy? Is it Cowboys Nation or Bills Mafia? Who's more relentless?
Oh, the Cowboys fans are some of the worst, man. I mean, they also have some good ones. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
all of them are bad, but I'll say the Cowboys are the quickest to flip on you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I saw you had a little
at one
CD back and
at one
forth.
moment you're their favorite, the next moment you're a piece of shit and you need to be cut tomorrow. So it's kind of wild.
It
But
is.
I enjoyed Buffalo fans for the most part though, man. They were I will say this, out in public they were way more respectful in the way they went about things. I liked them a lot more than dealing with fans in Dallas. It was like Dallas fans was more like paparazzi. They'd follow you around and film you and not say anything. Whereas, and that's, when you got kids and stuff, it's kind of creepy after a while. It's like, all right, I feel uncomfortable now. Whereas in Buffalo, they would just come to me, they'd like talk to me quietly so nobody else knows. And they'd be like, I just want to shake your hand. And we're very respectful. Um, whereas in Dallas, they like scream your name from across the mall and
Oh,
let
yeah.
everybody know you're there.
Yeah. There you go. Next thing you know, you got 20 on you.
Yeah.
So Cole Beasley's a general manager of an NFL team. You got to pick one quarterback to start a team with. Are you going with Josh Allen or CJ Stroud?
Well, hey, yeah, you're in Houston. You're trying to have me piss
Hey,
off all the.
hey, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Josh
I'm
is your
going
guy
with.
though.
I don't know CJ. I'm going with Josh.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. See,
Yeah,
that's the safe
yeah,
answer right there. There you
yeah. I'm
go.
going with Josh. Well, I mean, I didn't say it because it was safe. I mean,
I know.
I really
I know
believe. Yeah,
better
yeah,
than that. I know better than that.
yeah, yeah. No, Josh is a
You think
dog
Josh
now.
is going to be able to handle it without Diggs though? You think he's gonna? You think they might be asking him to do a little too much now?
They were already asking him to do a lot.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's how he wants it. He's a competitor and he feels like he can take on that load. Um, and rightfully so, man. The dude's a hell of an athlete. He's a beast. He can throw it anywhere. Um, I'm excited and interested to see what the new guys they bring do. The Coleman kid. But I know Dawson Knox. He's a great tight end. And then um,
Kincaid too.
I was about to say I'm going blank on his name right now,
Yeah,
but I love him
Kincaid.
too.
They got
No,
they got a nice tight end duo there.
he's a hell of a player too. So and Kincaid's a tight end, but he's a receiver. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So really, he's still got guys. And then Khalil is a good player also. I spent time with him a little bit when I went back, and he's eager to learn. He's eager to get better. He has the right type of attitude. He'll be a good player for a long time also. So they got some dudes. I
So
don't, I think he'll still be all right.
you mentioned Tank Dell, and I know that you came from June Jones offense, and then you go
Yeah.
into the NFL, and it's like just a completely different effing thing. Is that one of the biggest? Because a lot of people are optimistic, like the people that I respect the most are optimistic about Tank Dell because he did what he did last year, and the jump from a Holgerson air raid offense to the NFL, it's a hell of a learning curve. Is that something that you experienced too, going from SMU to NFL offense?
SMU, I was running the run and shoot with June, and I felt
Yeah.
like that was way harder to run than
Oh, okay.
when I came to Dallas.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it was less plays, but I had to see more,
Hmm.
and more was on me than Dallas was simple. I had one route. Buffalo was a lot more similar to what I did in college, but that's what I wanted. In Dallas, I would get bored, and I was running the same routes over and over, and I felt like it made my job harder because everybody knew what I was going to do. And they knew what I was running. I had like 5 or 6 routes that I ran, and that was it. And on third down, they definitely knew what was coming. So and I feel like defenses adjusted that and made it tough. But I don't feel like the adjustment is as crazy as you think from college to the NFL. And you're just talking scheme wise, right? You're not talking about
Right. Yeah. I'm
playing
just talking
playing.
about terminology, scheme, all that type of stuff from.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's yeah. It's not that difficult. And you got so much time from the beginning of the season till it starts. And so I'll tell you this, when you get into camp, they throw everything in and it's crazy. Like the amount of plays each team has is nuts. Like that's a lot. All right. And it can be overwhelming at first, but then once you get to the season and it's game plan, it's not near as many plays. Like they just put in the whole offense so you know it. But then once the season starts and they start game planning, it's way more condensed and it makes it a lot easier. So it's really not that crazy.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this. So you say you have kids. I think I saw you say this the other day on Twitter. When are you going to let your kids go on social media? What's the appropriate age for that?
I'm not.
Ever?
Not until they're out of my house. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's just what benefits are there? Like in my opinion, like it's even hard. It's hard for me, and I've had a lot of practice at this. You know,
Oh, you'll go
you
in the streets though. You'll go in the streets
yeah,
though.
yeah. You say one thing gets taken out of context, you know, and there's times where I'm like, I should have just kept my opinion to myself, but it's hard for me to do that. I'm a very opinionated person. It rubs people the wrong way. It is what it is. And I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm that type of guy. But like a guy, like for someone in my position, like I've built a following, it's a tool, right? But for kids, what is the other than like doing some filming you doing the dumbest stuff ever to get popular real quick, you know, and I don't really like that's kind of the benefit for a child, I guess. You know, you could just blow up real quick and then I guess you can have some money rolling and you just get popular real quick. I don't know how that stuff works, but other than that, I don't really understand the benefits of it, you know? You're I guess the whole idea of it was to connect to the world. You know, you could talk to anybody anywhere, but as a young person, like what you have your circle of friends here. What more do you need? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I feel like all it is to give you do something stupid and then people are getting on your head. They'll say anything on the internet. You know what I mean? I just don't see any good from it for a child until I don't know. And kids are sensitive, man. They want to be liked, and I just don't see any positivity coming from it. So mine won't have it until you know they're out of my house because I'm not gonna allow it.
All right.
I'm not even gonna do the if they do a cell I might get them a cell phone when they're like 16 when they have a car because that's the
Oh,
only time they
16.
need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old school, man. So and that's how I was. I didn't get one until I was like 15 or 16. Once I was starting to drive, but when I get them one, it'll be like the old Nokia with the snake on
The
there.
snake man.
You're not gonna
Man.
have all these social media apps, and I just think kids have way too much access to things too early before their minds are mentally ready to really understand everything.
Yeah,
You
they're
know.
not even kids, man. They got to deal with all that extra stuff. It's crazy for sure. So you think Diggs will be good here? You're a big fan of Tank.
Dude,
Appreciate you for
Tanks.
rolling through.
I didn't even get to talk about him much, man. He's a baller. I don't know him personally,
Yeah.
but when I was watching, and I rarely watch guys come out when they're getting drafted. I really watch film of them and see what they're about. But I had a little more time on my hands that
Okay.
year he came out because I wasn't on a team or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was kind of watching some of the guys. He was the only one I really liked, you know. But I mean, I guess I'm biased. He's probably more of a slot guy, but honestly, I think he could play some outside too because he can run, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
not only is
They like him outside a lot for sure.
not only is he quick, like he can fly. He's got both, and there's not many guys like that who. Usually, the problem when they can fly like that, they can't run routes, right? But he can do both, so I think that's dangerous, and you can line him up anywhere. I'm a big fan of his, man, and I said something on Twitter once. If he I don't know his understanding of the game and how zone coverages work, but if he ever figures that out, he'll be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. They got
Because
a good core.
the man in beating press, he's got that down pat, you know, and that's the hardest part of the NFL, and all the other stuff comes easy after that. So I'm a big fan of him, and I hope he does well.
Do you are you a fan of CD Lamb? Just kidding.
I am, you know,
I don't know how you got drug into that one, man.
did it, man. Look, the whole point of that whole conversation, it was just supposed to be. I feel like they're doing all this cute fancy shit that does the same thing as the good old fashioned power clean squat, but for lesser results. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot
Well,
of guys are scared to
trainers,
lift.
you talk about clout chasing. Like, there's a lot of trainers that are doing it
Well,
at
that's
almost like a
kind of
kid TikTok level.
that's kind of what I'm talking about, and that's kind of what I was getting at. But I mean, it went to something else. But I'm gonna tell you something. It took everything in me not to fire back at CD. I mean, it's just like, I mean, he got. I guess he felt disrespected by what I said. But after that, with what he responded back, I felt the same way. But the difference is, I'm not playing anymore, and it took everything in me not to say something back. But it is what it is. But
There's
I
somebody.
seem bitter. I seem bitter if I say anything back at this point, because
Nah.
I'm not playing anymore. Do you know what I mean? But him saying he matching me route for route, it's like, come on, man. Anything under 10, there's no way. All right, that's just my opinion. But me saying that at the time, I was like, that's not gonna do anything good for me. So
No,
I'm
you
just,
got to relive the glory days in some way, shape, or form. I think it's healthy to
yeah.
go on there and let him know what you used to
Well,
do.
you know what? This is the thing and what got me on it is just like, dude, I've spent my whole life working for this thing, and everybody else has too. So any player can attest this, and CD will understand this one day too. It's like you work your whole life for one thing, and as soon as they can, everybody's going to try to come out and discredit that. And it's like, I don't know if it's a pride thing, but it's just like, you want respect for what you've built, that whole body of work that you built, and you spent so much time, and when you know what you put into that, and all the sacrifice and the hours, it's just like, when people just shit on it, it just pisses you off, man. it's
Yeah.
it's it's hard to just move on from that. But you know i need to I need to stop being a hypocrite and get rid of social media, like I'm telling my children.
Hey, it
But it's
happens.
hard. I'm gonna be putting on some camps. I gotta promote it some way. That's why I
Yeah.
said it's tough for a guy in my position. But kids, there's no need for it. But yeah, all that CD lamp stuff was crazy. That got
Yeah,
way bigger.
it's fun
That
though.
got
I
way
mean,
bigger than that got way bigger than what I expected it to be.
some of these guys take it a little serious, so they're very quick to bounce back. I could kind of see what you were saying there
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
it took everything in me not to fire back at CD though.
What do you do? Like, are you
But
just
I,
sitting
I like
with
him
the
though.
wife?
Yeah.
Are you sitting with the wife and kids and just like looking at your phone and then like, I got to put this down? Like, what is it? What is that like? You just like,
Yeah.
I gotta throw it
Well,
down.
it's summertime. I do, and I'm not working or anything. I don't have anything going on until football starts. So if I coach flag football, I was busy, but
Okay.
then now it's summer and we didn't have flag football anymore. So now I'm just, doing all the things with my kids, and then I have some time just sitting around, and then I'll just start scrolling. And I just saw
Yeah.
that video, and I made my comment, but I don't know, and I don't know what urges me to do that. I don't know what
Hey,
it is,
hey.
but maybe I should just. Some dude was like, "You should just kept scrolling." I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Man, I appreciate you very much, man. I know that I was going to do this the other day. We had the power outage. I figured, Diggs better than most. You seem to be a fan of Tank, and I always like
Mhm.
getting to hear from you, man. I've enjoyed following your journey from Little Elm to Dallas to Buffalo, with little stop in Tampa Bay sprinkled in there a little bit, and then
I don't even like to bring those up.
and
Dude,
then
that was just me trying to get one more year of normalcy.
that
Football
was.
without COVID, and all that other
If
BS,
you want
man.
it, man, that was a wild year for you, my friend, and it was actually one of the better years of your career. The whole COVID year. Yeah, you went out
Yeah,
there. I
yeah.
do kind of think, and this is just my theory. I do kind of think that you still get a lot of crap from people that are still hanging on to that, but don't want to necessarily admit that that's what they're hanging on to.
Probably so. Man, that was a bunch of BS, dude. And at this point, like, it's not even a thing. It's like, I don't know. I feel like that was a big part of why my career ended. Also, I mean, I go from all pro to having like 700 yards the next season to just crickets and can't get signed anywhere. You
Yeah,
know, and that was after the whole not wanting to get vaccinated and everything. But yeah, that was a wild time, dude. It was. I don't know. It's like who I was before that is not who I am after that. It's
yeah.
just it's a shame that that's something they made so political. Came
But
to
you don't
that,
have any
but
regrets for that, right? Like
I don't. Not regrets. I'm just a little bitter about it.
yeah.
If But no, I don't. I still feel how I feel, and I feel like I did the right thing. I just kind of, I got. It just sucked that everybody felt the same way in the locker room, but nobody really backed me. You know what I mean?
I heard a lot of
That's
players say, I heard a lot of players like that would say, yeah, I agree with him, but I don't want to, I don't want to go out
Yeah,
there and be the punching bag, which
and I
that's got to
understood
kind of
it.
be weird, right? I mean, you understand it, but there's probably some who would say the complete opposite and feel the same way, which that's where I would really just get kind of a little bit bitter about it.
That's more where the bitterness comes from, because at the same time, like, I'm doing all this, but then in the locker room, they're ramping me up to say this and say that, yada yada yada. But then it's like, when you need someone behind you, there's no one there. So it's just kind of, that was the shitty part about it. But it is what it is, dude. My heart was in the right place. Is those guys who were being told that they weren't going to get a job if they didn't get vaccinated, the free agent guys, that's who I was speaking for. And I was told by teams that I was making them in a me thing, and it was a selfish thing. But really, that's why I did it to begin with. I was an undrafted guy, and that was something I felt strongly about. Like, if I'm not getting vaccinated, I'm being told that I'm not even going to get a chance. Like, that was crazy,
It
It
was a
just seemed
wild
like
year,
it.
man.
Yeah, it just wasn't right, man. They know it wasn't right, but they'll never. And I'm also bitter because I left a lot of money on the table leaving Buffalo.
Yeah, you did.
Uh,
You did.
that's the only thing I regret, buddy, is that right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, y'all were pretty close though. I mean, y'all were knocking right on the door of a bowl. Y'all were going toe to toe with the Chiefs and then the Bengals and all that. So
I don't
probably
know.
looking at waiting too.
So many things changed inside that facility towards me. It was just I couldn't go back. It was just too much happened. I just had to get away from it for a while, and then they were nice enough to let me come back after that, but for a little bit. But I don't know. I wasn't myself when I came back, so it's kind of disappointing. I wish I could have bounced back a little better than I did, but it is what it is. It happened, man. And now we're on to coaching youth football, dude.
There you go. Yeah, you're gonna go win that bowl right there for sure. No,
Damn right.
no extreme squats though. Just the traditional stuff, man. Some
Not
clean.
not 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 for children. No, they wait for high school for that stuff.
Cole, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for coming through. I'll see you on social media. I'll keep in touch as well. Maybe touch base once camp starts and I get my first look at Stefon Diggs. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This is fun.
All right, there you go. That's Cole Beasley here in the locker room.